You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma podcast. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today, but before we do, I've got to thank our sponsors. First of all, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. They've been a huge part of this podcast for the last few years. So the Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. So a huge shout out to Governor Anatoby for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. Our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them. Do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my two pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my two golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. And the one thing that I do with the sponsors that I have is stuff that I use and recommend, like the Diffies with my car, Hall of Fame. They're awesome. Citizens Banks, where I bank. Chickasaw Nation, huge supporter of Oklahoma. And adding to that is the Doghouse. And so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too. But I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC. And hopefully our pups will run into each other. This episode is brought to you by the Oklahoma State Treasurer Unclaimed Property Division. Oklahoma has more than $1 billion of unclaimed property. Reclaim what's rightfully yours. Visit YourMoney.ok.gov and enter your name to find out if you have lost money from utility deposits, uncashed checks, life insurance policies, or more. If you've got a minute, search for free and visit YourMoney.ok.gov.
Dust the red dirt off your boots and get all your rowdy friends together. Born and Raised Music Festival is back for one hell of a weekend. September 13th through 15th, 2024 in Pryor, Oklahoma. Featuring Cody Johnson,
You got a chance, take
Hank Williams Jr.,
all my rowdy friends are coming over tonight.
Cole Wetzel, plus Midland, Dwight Yoakam, the Red Clay Strays, and many more.
Oh, so good.
Weekend, single day, and camping passes on sale now at bornandraisedfestival.com.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode. We are at the agency office today. It's been a new recording spot for me. It's super nice, super quiet.
The lighting's great.
The lighting's great, right? The office is really cool aesthetically. You're getting a look at it through the camera today, but it gives me great pleasure to reintroduce return guest, Mr. Lou Renova from 405 Photo, who's got this beautiful camera setup. It's always fun to have videographers on the podcast because they change the setup. Yeah. But yeah, man, thanks for coming back. Obviously, we've been, it was 4 years ago we did the podcast, over 4 years ago. A lot has changed in the world since then.
Man, that was pre-COVID.
It was like a month before the world went nuts. Scarily close to when I just had Les in here too, recording back-to-back episodes, and Les's episode went out a week after the one that we first did, which is crazy. But yeah, we said the same thing. Like, the world was great in February 2020, and then a month later, everything was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, man. So for people listening, watching, tell them a little bit about just kind of like your background. If they haven't seen that first episode, I will link in the description. They can go back, get your backstory. But just to bring people bring you kind of for context, top of mind. Who are you? What do you do?
Okay. Well, like Mike said, my name is Lou. I run a small business called 405 Photo. But my full-time job, I guess the business is more of a side gig. The full-time job is I'm the content creator for a couple guys named Farm Trek and Asian. They used to have a show on Discovery Channel. It was like top show on Discovery for a decade, you know. And they are currently not filming for Discovery, so as of right now, we're just hitting the content hard, doing more YouTube stuff. So I think since last time we talked, my job's kind of more evolved to do more video work, which I was mainly just doing photography then, and slowly turned into what I do the most.
Right. Yeah. And through that, I mean, they've done some crazy collaborations over the years. Obviously, the Zamboni was one of the craziest things they did.
For their show.
Was it the Vegas Knights or the ice hockey team in Vegas, and obviously drag racing. But since then, you guys have done some. I mean, you did the boat, right?
Yep.
That was on the water.
Farm boat,
which was crazy. I think was it El Reno Lake you tested it at first?
That's the one that went viral.
Yeah.
Like we had a random person out there on the first day it was in the water. They were just out on the bank. They're like, oh, it's this truck on the water, and then like the news picked it up and it went viral, and you know. But dude, like those guys built 8 cars for 8 separate episodes for their spin-off show, right? Yeah. So that's what the Zamboni was, the farm boat was. Yeah. And we've had the farm boat go viral, and we had just recently the camper car go viral. So like I posted a little clip of me hanging outside a window on the highway, and it looks like, I'll send it to you if you want to like put it in the video, but it looks like the camper's detaching from the truck, and I'm watching it from the side, or I'm watching it happen, and then I pan back to it, and all of a sudden you hear this raunchy V8 just catch up to the trailer. It's a little 30-second video, and dude, it hit like 42 million views on Instagram. Yeah, it was wild.
And for people listening, like basically what you did was you took the shell of a camper, like a trailered camper,
a methed out looking camper.
And you put it over the top of a van.
It's a 1976. I can't remember. It's a 70s van, essentially, and it's got a blueprint. I think it's a 305 or a 350. I can't remember what it is, with nitrous on it, you know. And it's got blind spots everywhere. So the guys, we all wired like a bunch of GoPros to go out the window so that he could have screens and he can see his blind spots. But working for those guys is super fun, man. It's been I started with them in 2016, and we talked about this in the last episode, right? I was just selling merch. The camera life was not part of my life at all, not even a thought. And then 2016 is when they handed me a camera, and then life has changed since. And man, this has been wild ever since. It's been crazy. I've been able to go halfway across the world and all over the country because of that job, you know, and met some super cool people. I don't think I would have met as. That's one thing I think I'm going to take away the most from this is the people I've met because of this job. I mean, I've met you because of it. I've met countless of others that have that vibe that you have all over the world, man. It's great. Like I have connections everywhere, and I just love it. I love having great conversations with people, and this has allowed me to do that.
It's content, and obviously content around cars brings people together, doesn't it? We know this. The car community is a very, very special community. And you know, where were you recently? You were up north recently, right? What were the cars you guys were shooting on recently?
Oh, so
because you've been up there before, I think, because some of your really cool photos are from up where you just got back from.
We were in Cordova,
okay,
which is right on the border of Iowa and Illinois. It's like right on the Mississippi River. We were there for an event. It was the a World Series of drag racing or something like that.
It's quite a big deal.
It's like a huge drag racing event. All weekend, there was probably 15,000 people there. And what we learned is that those people do not come down to hang out in the pits. They stay in their seats to watch the racing, and they don't move from there, dude. They're just there to watch. So we were just there, and we were in Missouri for an event before that for another drag race. So
well, and it's great that the guys, I mean, obviously it's kind of tough when they did Discovery for so long. you're kind of just filming content behind the scenes, but
Yes.
your YouTube channel at that point is just like, you're just kind of maintaining it. Whereas now, because they're not doing Discovery, it is the sole focus.
It has become more of the focus, because there's no other way to communicate to the world like they used to before, which Discovery Channel took care of that. Now we're just pushing the YouTube channel. We're pushing, even on Facebook, those guys, I manage all that stuff too, all their socials. And dude, we have almost 1 million on Instagram. They have 3.4 million on Facebook. Like, they have large social media presences. So now all of those outlets are super important because it's what we rely on now to communicate with, hey, well, we're going to be here, or we got this new car, or we got a new shirt, or check out this Jesus Do a Burnout sticker, or whatever, right? That's how we can communicate now.
Yeah.
Can't rely on television to do that for
Now that's the income, right?
So that we've had to pivot on because whenever they would do episodes, they would have their whatever episodic fees that they would get paid from, but now it's like we're solely relying on our website to sell T-shirts and to do events when we're going out to do events, and even we're trying all kinds of different things now, man. So like the big project right now is we're giving away a wagon.
Oh, wow.
Right, so we went up to Church Boys Racing. They partnered up with Chuck with Church Boys Racing, and they bought a wagon together. It's like a 1963 Nova wagon. Yeah. Chuck kind of souped it up a little bit, and Chuck had his grand opening, I think, a month ago or so, and we went up there and we started filming the content for this project. Right, so it was photos, it was whatever, all angles you can get. We're driving, I was strapped to the back of a SUV going 40 down a highway to get rolling shots and all that stuff, just so we can start building all the content for the giveaway. And that's going on right now.
Yeah. That's, that every day's different, right?
That's
the good thing. It's exciting.
It is and it's not. Like sometimes it's
sometimes
nice to know what you're
doing.
But man, honestly, I just enjoy working with those guys, and it's been different for the last 8 years. Mm-hmm. It's not been the same.
Yeah.
So I do like that. Yeah, I do.
And so, kind of like you said, you do, which PHOTOCON's coming up, and we'll touch on that a little bit. And obviously, predominantly, your love and passion is photography. Obviously, like you said, since 2016, the video cameras things kind of came in, but the photography side of things, when you do have time to go out and shoot, you obviously have some great logos and shoot to kill, right? Mm-hmm. Is kind of like the brand name as well, but I guess one of the phrases you use, right, 4 or 5 photo. What's the photography journey been like since we last talked?
Well, it's been learning how to do a lot of boring things. Mm-hmm. So like I've learned how to do a bunch of product photography, right? Because we have a website with over 300 items in it, and it's growing every week. So I had to learn how to do just really clean looking, product photos. And then it was just work, right? It's just constantly evolving the gear to moving from DSLR to mirrorless cameras and just trying new things. And but the most fun thing personally for me has been learning how to shoot film.
Okay, because that's sort of come back, right? There's been a resurgence.
Yeah, there's been a resurgence in the last few years, and I kind of got in on it before it really hit, where everyone's in on it now. Even Peter McKinnon or whatever he's taking, and I'm like, okay, so it's mainstream now. It's mainstream when Peter's posting about
film
it.
is now very expensive.
Right? I know it already was, unfortunately. So, but last year I started just kind of tinkering with them. I bought one camera. It was like a Canon AE1. Started learning how to shoot. Right, it felt new again. Because when I first started shooting with digital cameras, I kind of did the same thing. As I just put that thing on manual, and then didn't look back. Right, I just went hard with it from there. And with the film, I already had some experience, but I had to really learn. There's no digital meter inside that tells you where your exposure's got to be, so you really, really have to think about it and slow down. And also, you can't spray and pray. You have to look. When something catches your eye, you have to. Oh, hell yeah.
That sounded really good.
It was that Dodge, I think.
It sounded good.
That was a Hemi.
Yeah.
But with a film camera, you can't just spray and pray, right? You got a predetermined set of amount of photos, and what I like to do is I walk by something and I'm like, oh, that's cool looking, and if that was enough for me to go, that's cool looking, I explore it. So I started looking around, I look at the camera, I don't even take a photo, and then I finally set my settings up and I keep looking. Dude, sometimes it takes me 10 or 15 minutes to take one shot, which before with digital camera is just so, I don't know, there's less thought involved.
Yeah. Well, and also we can relate it to the car scene too, right? Because things are going back analog for the car scene now, right? People, we've gone to like the whole Tesla model and cars drive themselves. And there's no emotion left in cars.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people, especially in your world in the drag racing, they want that emotion, they want that thrill, they want that engine noise that just went by, right? They want to change gear themselves. Like that's the, and it seems like photography is going that way, and maybe some other things are too. People want that experience rather than just like pushing a button and being like, oh yeah, now it's done.
Yeah, and I think everything's cyclic in that way, because everything's that way. I mean, look at music, right? Music started off as you put something on a vinyl record, you put it on a 8-track, you put it on a tape, you put it on a CD, you put it as a digital file, and now it's streaming. But then what happens? Like there's a small resurgence of vinyl that comes back, and when a new record comes out, I buy the vinyl. If I like the band, I buy that Red Clay vinyl.
Yeah, you did buy it?
Hell yeah, I did. Yeah.
Dude, that's so good. Red Clay Stray is coming to Criterion in Oklahoma City soon.
Hell yeah, that was random, right? We were both in Tulsa,
right?
And then it's like, wait. I posted a picture and you're like, where are you?
Yeah. Posted a picture of the star, the starlight in Cairns. Like, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I love that band.
I'm gonna see them next weekend, actually.
Okay.
Is it next weekekend?
I think it's coming up.
2 weeks. Born and Raised. They're playing Born and Raised in Pryor.
Okay.
So I got tickets to that. They're playing there, and then October is for Criterion.
Okay.
It's gonna be so good.
This weekend you should go see Charlie Crockett.
You sent me that link. I saw the text and I was playing golf and I was like, I'll get back. I never got back to you. Is he good?
Oh yeah, you'll like. If you like Red Clay, you'll love him.
Is he playing Criterion as well?
Wednesday.
Because he played Jones Assembly last year, I think, or 2 years ago.
Yeah, he's kind of bumped up since then. He's gone open for some big tours, and now he's kind of doing his own thing a little more. So enough to open the Criterion, or to play the Criterion.
Well, and that's one thing that you're into. You play guitar. You're into the music side of things. Have you had time to do kind of strum around on your off time? You're like me. We're very rarely.
Well, there's always something going on.
Yeah.
Right now at home, I get home from my day job, and it's like I am obsessed with watching Game of Thrones.
Are you really?
I am 10 years too late.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I have not watched it.
Well, and my girlfriend's been pushing me to watch it forever, and then finally. I said, okay, let's watch it, and we've been binging it, right? Every free moment we get, we're like eating dinner, watching it, whatever. But besides that, it's like I try to just grab little times of, okay, I gotta do laundry now, oh, I gotta go do this, or I gotta do that, and then part of it's like, I'm gonna pick up the guitar for 10 minutes and at least play something. I recently bought some really, really cool guitars that I've been chasing for 20 years.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, so dude. I should have brought one up to show it.
Yeah.
Because I'm super proud of them. It's not like I'm proud because I can play them well, but...
A 20-year chase is a long time to be chasing it. Most people give up.
Yes, so they do. And so this was a guitar that this guy from Queens of the Stone Age played. His name's Josh Homme, right? So this was the first band at around 15 years old that that changed the way I looked at music, right? I saw music differently because of them. And at the time, he was playing this 1984 Ovation solid body electric guitar. Okay. And he had one that was a black one that he played the most, but he had this one that was a red wine color, right? It's like that couch, but a deeper red, right? And I just head over heels over that guitar. I obsessed over it as a teenager, but back then, they were like $1,600. Right, because this guitar not only looks cool, but it is one of under 400 in existence. Okay. So they made them for 1 year, and stopped making them after that. Right, so less than 400 in the world. Couldn't afford to get one when I was young. I had a chance to buy one. I couldn't come up with the money in time. I'm like 17, 18. Fast forward now to I'm 30. When did I buy? I was 38 when I bought it. 38, 20 years later, when I had the chance to buy it, I see one come up on Reverb, which is like the eBay for music instruments, and I was like, I can afford that.
Click.
So I was like,
Buy now.
and I spent probably too much money.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It's like it was a dream come true, literally. Some people chase cars, and you know, I got some cars that I like, but this is one of those nostalgic things that you used to love when you were a child or a teenager that now as an adult, when I'm almost 40, I can actually afford to buy one, even as ridiculous as much as I spent on it. But I have it. And then a month later, I bought a second one.
So you have two of the same guitar. Great.
So I have two of the under 400 in existence.
That's
so
awesome.
I might get the other two. There's 4 colors in total. So we'll see.
That completes the set.
It does. So I'm happy, man. Like it's on my wall, you know, like hanging out like one of these, and I just grab it and I'm like, yeah, this is what I've been wanting for 20 years.
Well, and that's the other thing too,
it.
is it comes as artwork.
Yeah.
You know, there's guitars hanging around the office, and obviously some of them have got signatures on them, but you know, the same with whether it's skateboards or for me, golf bags. Like I have all my previous college golf bags, you know, I still have all of them. You know, you only need one golf bag, right? But like I've got 6, you know, and like I could switch them out, but like to me they're like pieces of artwork, you know, or just a moment in time.
Yes, it is.
You know, that signifies like, and for you that guitar, you know, it's $1,600 when you're 15, 16 years old, is an astronomical amount of money compared to whatever it is that you paid for it today at the age of almost 40. Right? And that's why it's like
it's more than triple.
But still, you're just like, I can do that now. And it's totally worth it.
Well, dude, like my house now is like, you walk in there and it's me, right? Like I like having stuff that's a conversation piece in my house. Like I have weird stuff in there because, I got that alien head when I was in Roswell, and this is the story behind me going to Roswell and buying that. You know, so I've got my guitars, I've got my film cameras all over. I've got I used to play in a band, so I have my old bass drum heads hanging on the wall. You know, so this place here, I like it. It's very much like my living room. I
want my house to look like this spot, like with just stuff there, because like you said, everything has a meaning, everything has a conversation piece. And whether that's, you know, one of my favorite ones is I have a skateboard that's signed by the entire Birdhouse team.
Very
cool. Came to
cool.
town. It's in the office. My office looks like this. My main house doesn't yet. It will shortly. But yeah, just conversation pieces of things that just mean a lot to you. You know, and signify a certain time in life with a memory or whatever it is, whether it's an accomplishment or something cool, or maybe something bad happened, but you've got this cool story to tell about it. That's the one thing that, like, I think we are very similar in that way, and Wyatt obviously is too with the office. Like, we're just collectors of cool stuff.
Of things that mean something to you
too.
Because I don't collect to just collect. Like, you know, like another thing I'm into, like, is the competition pistol stuff. So I don't buy guns just to collect guns. So that I'm very practical in, because I buy a gun that I'm going to compete with, and then I buy a backup to it, and then I run them into the ground until they just don't work anymore, and I buy another one, and they're tools, right? Much like probably your clubs, right? And then the real expense from that is ammo after that.
Ammo is expensive. So let's talk about that then, the competition thing, competition shooting thing. Was that something that you kind of were interested in as a young age, or was that just something that's kind of circled back, you know, recently?
Well, I was deathly afraid of guns for most of my life and adult life. I grew up in a household that saw guns as something scary. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s that some like break-ins were happening in the neighborhood, and my ex-wife was working days and she was alone. That's when most break-ins happen. So we started thinking about, oh man, we need to maybe think about self-defense, and everything just led to buying a gun. So I was about 28 when I got into it, and how my mind works is like, well, I got into music, just completely obsessed, and this is what I do now, right? I got into guns. That was like, music was like from 15 to like 27 that I did that, right? And then it was the gun thing that I got into, and got quickly obsessed with learning how to hold it, learning how to shoot it properly, learning how to do it faster, and that all led to me doing competition in USPSA, which is the United States Practical Shooting Association. It's the largest organized, or it's the largest organization of shooting sports in the country. I did that pretty heavy from about 28 till about 35, 34, and then I got busy with cameras. After
So
that.
it started to come back around recently.
Yeah, so like for the last 2 years, 2 years before this year, we were traveling a lot for work. We were part of the No Prep Kings TV show, and we were on the circuit of visiting 13 to 18 racetracks a year.
Wow.
So there was a time there that I was out working, helping them set up their booth, helping them sell the merch, but then the real job was making the content, right, with the photos and the videos. And dude, at one point I was gone for like 5.5 weeks at one stint, right? I was just gone. I was just on the road, right? So that's slowed down because the guys aren't filming that TV show anymore. We're not on that MPK circuit, and they're kind of choosing their own little events. Some of these events, they're just going to a car show or they're going to like a meet and greet. They don't need me there. So I'm not taking the time where we're not gone so much to do things that I want to do, and I just fell back into guns, and I set a goal to myself and said I want to be there's different classifications in it, right? And I reached what's called an A-class shooter, which is in the top 25%, right? Pretty good.
Yeah.
But I want an M card. I want a master card. I want to be a master pistol shooter. And then beyond that, people got so good in this sport that they have to make an even higher classification called a grandmaster. Yeah. So that's the goal for me right now. Is I don't want to stop until I get my MasterCard, and then if I have time to continue to pursue, I'd love to be in the top 1% in the sport and be a grandmaster shooter.
And by being a grandmaster, or being a master, what's the kind of what's like the qualification, or not the qualification? What's like the terms of how do you have to? Is it a certain course that you got to go through at this speed? Is it a certain accuracy? How is it measured?
Yeah, so the whole sport is accuracy and speed.
Okay.
And they have a formula called getting your power factor, it's called getting your hit factor, and they kind of multiply your points per target, and how fast you run it to get your hit factor, and then that's how you do like a match, right? So I'll have to take you out there one day. Like next Saturday, we're shooting one if you were just curious.
Yeah.
But so that's just like a match that you do. There's a match consists of like 5 to 7 stages, depending on the range. But how you get your classification is that there's a standard stage that everyone in the sport shoots, and you get ranked within the sport, and that's how you know nationally where you rank, because everyone in the country sets up the same targets at the same distance, and everyone shoots it, and you get everyone's time and everyone's scores, and that's how you get your classification.
That's cool. Yeah, that's one. I mean, you took me out there and taught me how to do it, and I'd shot a little bit, but I hadn't had the lesson that you gave me, and I love it, dude. It's so much fun.
Well, you picked it up very, very quickly. I think it's because of your golf background,
it's definitely
honestly.
The golf.
Because it's a lot of the same thing, right? It's like when you're sitting there, you're only moving certain things, and you're repeating the same thing.
Yeah.
With handguns, it's the same thing. It's like, man, you want to be relaxed. You only want your arms to do stuff, right? So you and then having the hand-eye coordination of hitting that ball is the same thing as lining up your sights and shooting.
Yeah, for me, when I watched that video back that you took of me shooting towards the end, and I noticed myself, you're talking, and I just you get into the zone, or whatever you call it. I just take a few deep breaths. Like this flow state. Yeah, you take a few deep breaths, you kind of focus on what your target is, and then you're just ready to go, right? But it's fundamentals that you have to build on first, and then you go to. I had so much fun doing it. I need to get back out there.
Yeah, man, whatever you want. Whatever you want. I'm there. I was there this morning. I was there yesterday. So my goal is to get this certain level, right? And dude, I've been since March. I've been going hard. Pretty much I'm out there every weekend shooting at least 500 rounds a weekend. I'm at home. I dry fire for 30 minutes to an hour at night, every night, in the mornings, and whenever I can. So it's currently my obsession that I want to pursue. And man, and who knows? I might start doing lessons and stuff. I might start finding out ways to be able to write off ammo purchases, you know.
That's
what I really want. Yeah.
So we can write off
Yes.
the cost of it, because
Yes.
it is not, it's not
Yeah.
cheap, right? It is expensive. And the and ammo costs have just historically gone up.
Well, you know,
too.
I don't do stuff, man. I go out every once in a while, but I don't really drink. I don't go out drinking. I don't really. I mean, I buy
Socialize,
shorts from Target.
right,
I buy $50 chucks. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
my high expense stuff is the camera stuff. Well, that's my job.
Yeah.
I can write that stuff up. I have a whole business for that stuff. You know, so that's why buying ammo, I can just afford it.
Yeah,
you know, because
exactly.
I don't really spend money on other stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of that's with me with golf. I'm like, how do I do that with golf?
Yeah.
Because it's not cheap sport, right? Cameras aren't cheap, you
Yeah.
know, but ammo's not cheap. I mean, anything that it seems like that we get into as guys, cars are not cheap.
Yeah.
You know, like there's nothing's cheap these days.
Nothing fun is cheap.
No,
Nothing
not at
fun.
all.
And you know what's cool about the gun thing, though, man, is what I've learned in the last 7-8 years of working with Farm Truck and Asian, and then launching my own brand and learning how to grow my brand by them teaching me how to grow theirs, is that now I can use what I've learned and use it with the gun thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
So already it's working. Like already.
Because you set up a separate YouTube channel for the gun thing, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
so separate channel. But dude, it's already the marketing side of it is easy for me now, because I can go out there and take content. I know how to edit video. I know how to cut shorts to distribute. I know how to film for YouTube. And then working with companies has become easier because I already work with Bedford. I already work with Prism Lens Effects. I already work with three-legged monster.
To the point of teaching, you know, you mentioned kind of earlier, like taking photos and film has kind of been a way where you really have to go back to the process.
Yeah.
You know, you have a knack for teaching because you explain shooting to me on a very, very understanding level. And teaching's very hard to do, and there's a skill to it that you have. Whether that's, you know, photography, videography, you know, shooting, music, I'm sure it's the same with you as well. We're both involved with Bedfords Camera. PHOTOCON is coming up. We're both speaking. What is your masterclass about, and what can people expect to learn from you at that masterclass?
Well, first I want to shout out to Eric and everybody at Bedford, because working with them for the last few years has been great.
They're awesome.
You know, they kind of let me do whatever I want. They're super supportive. I plug them as much as I can, and I hope that I can figure out more ways to help them in the future. But this is going to be my third class. My third master class. And so last year I did it, and it's at this hotel, right? Which my whole shtick is bringing a car over and teaching people how to shoot a car, right? Well, at a hotel parking lot, there isn't it's not a cool place.
It's not glamorous at all.
It's not glamorous at all. So it's not like right here, we're downtown Edmond, Oklahoma. Dude, you can find a cool spot to park a car and take photos easily.
Yeah.
But out there, it's a parking lot. So I experienced this last year where I showed up with a car and I'm like, dude, like, where do I shoot this thing, right? So I had to get creative.
Yeah.
So I did, right? I did, that class was more of, last year was, I'm gonna teach people how to shoot like editorial, how to do stuff for a magazine type of shoot, right? So how to get certain aspects, and that was my first time doing that kind of class there. So that gave me the idea this year to go, okay, well, how can I teach people to take a photo in a very mundane location, right? And there's certain things you can do to kind of hide the boringness in a way, right? So this year's class is exactly that. Is I'm going to teach people how to take a photo that's cool no matter where we are, right? So that's going to involve finding anything that's cool, so this is something that film photography taught me, is composition. It really hit hard on composition. So I've been able to learn that because I was going out on the weekends and in the morning before work to go shoot photos just for fun.
Yeah.
So finding compositions while just walking down the street, I'm like, well, why does that trash
Simple
can look
things.
cool? Well, I'm going to find an angle to make it work. Well, now I've learned to be able to apply that stuff to the like the car photos that I do. And so I'm hoping I can teach people that, we'll be using like macro lenses. We'll be using, there's this technique that I like to do where I stack 9 photos on itself.
It looks so cool.
Well, like that farm truck picture.
Yeah.
I think you even said something about it, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people commented on that picture. They're like, how's that picture so crisp?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's because it's 9 photos blended into one through Photoshop, right? So I'm gonna teach people how to do that. So just that. It's still a very beginners type of class, but hopefully I can help someone feel inspired no matter where they are, because man, there's photos everywhere. You just got to know how to find them.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I think Martin at Bedford said to me one time he shot a lot of basketball, G League basketball, for the OKC Blue, and he said that, he did a masterclass. He was in a masterclass learning from one of the greatest basketball sports photographers, and they were doing it on a court as well. Like they were doing it kind of during some form of game to get them really kind of what they were doing. And the guy was like, yeah, you're in a great spot, but just move like half a foot, 6 inches or whatever it is to the left, and then look at your shot.
Yeah.
Like it's that much
Yeah,
detail,
it is.
right? And that's the intricacies and like just the stuff that you learn over time about you're standing in a place, but just take a little shift to the left, a little shift to the right, or up or down, and the photo looks completely different.
Yeah.
And the
You just gotta
angle
take a
changes,
little
the
bit of
light
time.
might change. There's so many things that go about it. So are you taking a car in like you had this time, or are you just going to walk around?
No, we're definitely going to take a car.
Okay.
Last year was cool because my buddy Richard with 660 Street brought his Nova out there, and
Nice.
I parked him by some shipping containers, and we took the shots, and then at the end of last year, I had him do a big burnout. And I taught people how to set up the cameras, where to stand, how to do it safely.
Yeah.
And you don't ever want to be on your knees when there's a car moving, because you can't get out of the way.
Sure.
So if
Yeah,
you're going to be
safety.
moving by
Yeah.
a fast car, you got to
Yeah.
stay on your feet.
Yeah.
So if you're going to squat down, you got to stay on. So even teaching little things like that could save your life.
Those Mustang drivers out there.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right around crowds, cars and concrete.
So I'm not sure what car I will take. That's always a last minute deal because of everyone's availability.
Well, also what's running at the time too, right?
Very true. And what's cool about my job is, I've met a lot of car guys.
Yeah.
So I've been able to make a lot of connections, and I could just go, hey dude, can you bring a car or two out and park it here, and they'll pay your gas and we'll give you some money, but you'll get a bunch of content of the car that you love.
Free photos.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm not quite sure what car yet, but I have a few in mind. It might even be the farm truck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and to the point, people look at the farm truck and think, oh, it's just a big orange truck. But there's so many little angles to that truck, whereas it's the rust or the patina or the engine bay,
Yes.
or the stickers,
Yes.
whatever it is. Like there's so many little details because it isn't a brand new truck. It's been dinged, it's been raced. I mean, it's
It's
just
like we were talking about earlier, like your house has a conversational pieces. Well,
Yeah.
that's the truck on the outside. Like every ding, every scratch, every little weird thing. Like he's got a can opener on the side of it. You know what I mean? So every little thing is a conversational piece.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it might be that. It's definitely going to be. It's not going to be a Mustang. It's not going to be a Dodge Challenger. It's going to be. It's not even going to be like a Lambo or something.
Right.
I like stuff with a lot of character.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be something rusty. There's a cool factor about
to
it.
live the life.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got stories.
Yeah,
Definitely.
there's something cool about it. Or it might be a race car, right? Whatever. But yeah, so that's the goal this year, is to teach people that they can take a photo kind of anywhere that they are and make it cool. Right.
Is the schedule out yet? Do you know what day time you're teaching?
Well, I can look it up.
I know. I mean, for people listening and watching, PHOTOCON is October 31st to November the 2nd. If you want to go to the website, it's PHOTOCONOKC.com. It is going to be at the Embassy Suites Hotel in Northwest Oklahoma City on Northwest Expressway. So all the information will be there, and we'll find out when you're speaking. I don't know if it's out yet.
Yeah, it's out.
It is?
Just gotta find it. They got some cool speakers this year. Lindsay Adler's going to be up there.
And so I tell you who I have met who's been on a podcast is Mike Mazzoul. He takes some outrage. For people listening, go to Mike Mazzoul on Instagram, and Mike's last name is Mezeul. He travels all over the world taking some. He's not from Oklahoma, by the way. I think he's from Texas. But yeah, he's got some unbelievable photos that he's taken photos, from all over the world, travel photographer.
It doesn't say for some reason.
It doesn't say what time.
No.
All the information, they'll be releasing kind of what the time is coming.
Yeah, it's PHOTOCON.ok.gov. The class is called Everything is a Photo. Right. And I know that I have I'm pretty sure it's Friday around 1.
Okay.
Yeah, so every year they give me 10 free tickets. So I'll probably keep 1 or 2 or 3 of them, and then on my Facebook page or Instagram, I'll give some away to people that want to come.
Yeah.
But I'll find out, and I'll be posting on my socials about it as well. Yeah.
Tell people what your socials are. What is it?
Yeah, so on everything that's photo related, it is all Lou405 Photo. That's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or X, whatever now. And then on the gun stuff, I started a separate channel that's just Lou Renova, where I'm just posting my gun content. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
How close are you on the score sheet of being a grandmaster?
Well, I'm an A.
Okay.
So if it's 1 through 100.
Being a master then.
Yeah. So if it's 1 through 100,
yeah.
I've gotten 78%.
Okay.
And the grandmaster starts at 85.
So you're close.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once I hit 85, I've got from 85 to 95, and that's the master. And then when you hit the grandmasters at 95 and above, awesome. To the 100. So we'll see. That's my goal. I don't know if I'll achieve it this year, just because. Man, I've learned that I'm older, I'm slower.
It takes time.
My vision's kind of going, But I've been putting in a lot of work and making a lot of progress. So we'll see. Maybe next time we talk, I'll be a master shooter.
Yeah, another 4 years till we do another podcast. Brilliant. Well, dude, thanks for coming in. Really appreciate you. Thanks for bringing the camera setup. Glad you got to see the office.
Yeah, I'll check it out some more.
I know you're a musician and you're just going to geek out over some of the guitars we have in here. And for people listening and watching, thanks so much. We'll catch you next episode. Cheers.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at OklahomaHOF. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my 2 pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my 2 golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. And the one thing that I do with the sponsors that I have is stuff that I use and recommend, like the Diffies with my car, Hall of Fame. They're awesome. Citizens Banks, where I bank. Chickasaw Nation, huge supporter of Oklahoma. And adding to that is the Doghouse. And so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too. But I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC. And hopefully our pups will run into each other. This episode is brought to you by the Oklahoma State Treasurer Unclaimed Property Division. Oklahoma has more than $1 billion of unclaimed property. Reclaim what's rightfully yours. Visit YourMoney.ok.gov and enter your name to find out if you have lost money from utility deposits, uncashed checks, life insurance policies, or more. If you've got a minute, search for free and visit YourMoney.ok.gov.
Dust the red dirt off your boots and get all your rowdy friends together. Born and Raised Music Festival is back for one hell of a weekend. September 13th through 15th, 2024 in Pryor, Oklahoma. Featuring Cody Johnson,
You got a chance, take it.
Hank Williams Jr.,
All my rowdy friends are coming over tonight.
Cole Wetzel, plus Midland, Dwight Yoakam, the Red Clay Strays, and many more. Weekend, single day, and camping passes on sale now at bornandraisedfestival.com.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.